says that if the corresponding side lengths are proportional, then the triangles are similar. We've basically done this already. You just have to check all three ratios. If all the side ratios are the same, then you can say that the triangles are similar. So like AB would have to be proportional to RS, AC would have to be proportional to RT, and then BC to ST. They're not going to be congruent, they're going to be proportional. So all of your ratios need to simplify to the same thing. The other one we're talking about today is side angle side. You need to check, you need one congruent angle and two, you'd have to check two side ratios. I'll scroll up in a second. But just like we talked about when we talked about congruent triangles, the order of these letters matters. So when it's side, angle, side, we are talking about the included angle, which means the angle between the two sides that are proportional. So in your little picture here, these two, if those two are proportional and these two are proportional, then the angle that has to be congruent is the one that's in between them, X and M. So it matters where that angle is, but again, side lengths not congruent, they are proportional. So check your ratios. All right. We are going to check and see if DEF or JHJ is similar to ABC. Notice you have no angles, and so we're going to check the side lengths. I know on your page you can't see these colors, so it might be helpful to look up on my screen because the colors are there. Because all of these triangles are, none of them are facing the same way. So you have to pay attention to how they're flipped or turned. Okay, let's start by checking if ABC is similar to DEF. What does 8 correspond to in DEF? 6. And that simplifies to 4/3. We need all the other ratios to simplify to 4/3 as well. 16 corresponds to 12, the blue one. Those divide by 4, 4/3. So the last one also has to do that. 12/9 divides by 3, 4/3. So 4/3 all the way. Is ABC similar to DEF? Yes. Let's write a statement for that. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. And that's because of side, side, side. Because all of your side lengths are proportional. We're also going to see if ABC is similar to GHJ. So again, let's go back to side length of 8. 8 corresponds to, is that an 8? Yeah. 8 corresponds to 8, which would simplify to 1/1. Okay. Let's go with the blue sides. 16 would correspond to 16. So again, 1/1. So good so far. Check the last ones. 12/10. That simplifies to 6/5. Is that the same ratio? Nah. So these are not similar. You have 2 out of 3, that's not enough. All 3 have to be the same. Okay, moving on. The next problem, just so we don't make this mistake, remind you, we're talking about similar triangles, and it's pretty clear that these are not the same size. But I should not see you setting these equal to one another, like 8 equals 3 times x plus 1. These are not equal congruent sides, so don't do that, please. You have to write a proportion. Find the value of x that makes triangle ABC similar to DEF. You always want to choose, you got to have a pair that has 2 numbers. So I would probably choose 4 and 12, right? 4 corresponds to 12. All we're doing is finding the value of x. So then the easier one seems like x minus 1. What does that correspond to? 18. We're going to cross multiply and solve. I'm sorry I didn't give you a ton of space for this. 4 times 18 and 12 times x minus 1.
Can we simplify them to 1/3?
You can simplify it to 1/3. Good question. So you could simplify it to 1/3 and use that for the scale factor. You don't have to. So either way, you're going to get the same answer because the ratios are the same. Good question. Is that 72? 4 times 18?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. 72 is equal to 12 times x minus 1. And now you're just solving an equation. So we did cross multiply. Distribute. Dang, none of them. 72 equals 12x minus 12. We would need to add 12 and then divide by 12. Tori, what do you got for x? Not that bad. 7? Okay. The only thing you're asked for in this problem is find the value of x, so after you get 7, you'd be done. On these next several problems, when we did this with congruent triangles, this was where we made a lot of little mistakes. Just make sure that you choose your correct theorem. The only 3 that you have to choose from are angle, angle, side, 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 and side, angle, side. That's the only 3 that you have. So which method would you use to show the triangles are similar? You always look and see what you have to start with. Right now you have 2 sides, or 2 pairs of sides, which we need to check and see if they're proportional. So you can't use side, side, side. Where can I get an angle? Vertical, right in the middle. Whoop. So you have an angle that's congruent. It is the included angle. You do need to check the sides though. So 9 corresponds to 15, not 30. 9 is the shorter side, has to go with 15. If those divide by 3, that's 3/5. You need the other side to also simplify to 3/5. 18 corresponds to 30. What can both those divide by? 6. So again, you get 3/5. So since you have 2 sides, 2 pairs of sides that are proportional, and the included angle, this is by side, angle, side. Number 4. Again, your only 3 choices are angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side. Right now you have 2 congruent angles. You have no sides listed at all. Aubrey, where could I get another pair of angles? Right there in the middle. So Aiden, which theorem am I going to use? Angle, angle. Cool. Moving on. My mistake. The next one is exactly the same as the one we just did for number 3. We know that those are similar already by, was it side, angle, side? But on these problems, it asks you to also write a similarity statement. So we're going to do that real quick. So this is by side, angle, side. We know that because we already checked it. Your similarity statement, if I do triangle ABC, which angle corresponds to A? D. And then B corresponds to E. Then you have C. Please pay attention to the order of your letters. It does matter. Okay. Number 6. You have an included angle that's congruent. You have some pairs of sides. You need to check and see if they're proportional before you just assume that they are. 24 over 18 and 28 over 21. Can you please simplify those two fractions? Sam, what are they simplified to? And since they simplify to the same thing, you do have side, angle, side. Write your statement of similarity, please. Triangle SRT is similar to triangle PNQ. Last one like this, and then we're doing some solving. Oh, this is a good problem. Do you have any angles at all? You do. Which one is it? H. H is shared. So you can use H if you'd like. Otherwise, you can go ahead and use side, side, side here. So you do have choices. Before you just start comparing away, you're going to have to get what these sides actually are. The sides for the larger triangle. This one is obviously 15 plus 5 would give me 20. What is the base? 16 plus 5 is 0.5 plus 5.5. 22. Okay. If you want to check all of your proportions, you can do that. Or you can use the angle and just check 2 of them, the 2 surrounding it. I'm going to check all 3, and then we'll say you could use both. 16.5 corresponds to 22. This is this side, and then 22. Since you have a decimal, I would go ahead and just divide that 16.5 divided by 22 and get it as a decimal. Bonnie, what do we got? Okay. And now we can check 15 corresponds to 20. You can divide that one as well, or you can leave it as a fraction and simplify it. If you leave it as a fraction, it simplifies to 3/4. And if you want to check all 3, you can also check 18 and 24. Which simplifies to 3/4. So you have 2 options here. You could say that since 0.75 is the same thing as 3/4, you could say this is by side, side, side. You could also say, since you have the included angle, it's by side angle side. Doesn't matter to me. But we do know that these two triangles are similar. So triangle GHJ is similar to triangle, what would that be? FHK. Okay, I'm not going to talk through the entire last two problems. We're going to talk about how to set them up, and then I'm going to have you solve for the rest. So for numbers 8 and 9. For number 8, it says the shortest side of a triangle similar to ABC, that's the one listed on the picture to the right, is 15 units long. So draw a triangle that obviously looks similar. And it says that the shortest side is 15. Since the shortest side for ABC is up here, for AB, you want to label 15 there. And then it says find the other side lengths. So you don't know what they are, I would label them X and Y. Similarly, on the last one, it says now the longest side is similar to ABC. Longest side does not go in the same place. Your longest side on ABC is 9. So 6 would need to go in that spot. And then you can label your other two X and Y. On both of these, you are finding the other side lengths, so solve for X and Y. You need to write proportions based upon the fact that these two triangles are similar to ABC. So I'm going to let you solve that one, or those two.